Harris.
Yeah, like he wasn't, a fit partner for her. Like she sees this in Jon. And just kind of like pours her heart out.
And I totally agree with you, and I do think that she is in love with him, and she sees him as the only person who can come like rule with her.
He loves her.
And he does love her, but I also think that she doesn't want to do what he wants to do, though. She wants him to come do what she wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, she's trying to
It's always her way or the highway.
Right. So, like, that's what I'm saying,
So
you know?
is it kind of sexist, though, to call her manipulative when, like, I don't know. I haven't been able to, like, process my thoughts on that.
No, I mean, Tywin is manipulative earlier in the series. Like, that's not a thing that's only directed at her.
Yeah.
But that is what she is doing.
Okay.
Just like she did with Sansa in that scene, and you see her, like,
hold her hand. But Sansa was like,
that's absolutely not sexist.
Yeah.
That is Dany as a character.
Okay.
Oh, sure. I do think that there is...
Fair.
Just to make that distinction, though, there are some times where she does it with a specific intent, like with Sansa. I don't think she really fucking wants to be Sansa's friend.
No.
She's just like, you're going to cause problems for me later, honey, so, like, get on board.
She thought she was smarter than
Sansa.
Sansa.
But
Like,
she also wants people
Sansa.
to like her. That's a lot of what she wants, and she, I think, would prefer if
She wants,
Sansa
like, the
would like
common
her.
people to like her. People that don't have power.
I think she wants everyone to like her. I mean, she has had that for her entire come up as a character, almost without fail, of the people near her all adore her until she came to Westeros. I mean, with a few, like, Dothraki...
I mean, the
Dothraki
just follow her because of the dragon, I feel like, kind of.
I mean, there were some Dothraki, some of the other, like, tribes that didn't, and, then she burned them, and then she got the rest of them on board.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Dothraki are very much like, if you show me power, like...
For sure.
You're my leader, you know?
I'm saying, that's also how she deals with people who don't absolutely worship her. Like, there is no middle ground. You can't be like, you're fine to her. Anyway, I do think that is one of her best performances.
So good.
And to that point, I think he also loves her, and, like, he means it when he says, "You will always be my queen," as he stabs her. Oh my god. I really, like, just talking about that, I really needed it to be Jon. I feel like he's been so fucking useless this whole season.
If it was anyone else, it would not have been the same thing.
No.
She wouldn't have let... Well, first of all, Drogon wouldn't have let anyone else near her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we got a little bit, and I think maybe that's why they didn't do the Valancourt theory, because that's kind of the same reason we wanted it to be Jaime to kill Cersei, is because he does truly love her, and it would kind of be like, to put her down, to put her, but also out of her misery and kind of thing, like...
Yeah, you need that, like, internal conflict with that person, too.
And so we ended up getting that same thing out of Jon in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't have been as satisfying if Jaime would have done that to Cersei. You know, like, if we would have gotten, like, two of the same deaths.
Right.
Yeah, like, so that's a whole nother thing.
I think that's a solid
good point.
Yeah.
It kind of would have, like... blew the load, for lack of a better phrase, of this scene. And it's so powerful. And they do, like, zoom in on the faces so you're not totally sure what happened. Because you are a little bit suspicious of how she's going to react to Jon, because he has the better claim, and because Varys told everybody and their grandma. For a second, I think we both talked about this, like, I was not sure who's dead too for a second. Because I thought there was a decent chance that we were going to come into this episode and Dany was going to kill Jon. Like, I wanted him to kill her, but, like, I was like, it could happen.
I did also love, like, how quick they got to it, though, just like her death, because I really thought it was going to take a while before Daenerys was taken care of. And so I like that, it was this moment, they got to it. It did have a little bit of the element of surprise, and then I was like, great, now we don't have to drag out this whole, like, will you, won't you, like, who's going to strike first sort of debate, and it's just like, get it.
Well, and especially, like, when against, like, the kind of, like, doom and gloom they set up in the, like, previous two scenes, you know what I mean? That it was just, like, you're like, oh, shit, you can never take her. She has such a large army and a fucking dragon. Like, this isn't good. And then they're immediately like, no, it's just over.
Right. It just takes the right person who's currently in the confidence to get in there.
Well, and then I think too, like, speaking of like loving him or not loving him, I don't know that John was going to be able to get this close to her
Again.
Later.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, if he was not going to like absolutely worship the ground that she walks upon, then he was never going to have this opportunity again. So he had to take it. Right? There was no other way.
And for sure, like with the previous interactions I think he's had with her, like, you know, there's plenty evidence there, I think, to make the case for like, and he knew it was this moment or not at all. You know, the moment before she burns the city down where he pulls away from her kiss. You know, like if he knows he can't be that person for her.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, like
And
there's only a limited amount of time there.
I think Kit Harington is a good actor, but I don't think John the character is. So I don't think he was going to fake that very well either.
He was not going to be able to fake that. I think one of the bigger moments, too, when he was like, this has to happen now, was when, you know, during her speech to him, you know, she's like, we will do good. And he was like, well, what about the people who don't agree with you?
Right, who think they're doing
Which
good.
I think he's alluding to Sansa and Arya. And she's like, well, they don't have a choice.
Right.
And, like, I will remember her saying that for a long time because he was like, because I feel like he was almost being pulled in for a minute by.
So it could almost
her.
be in that moment. You're saying, yeah.
Yes, I think you know he went in there to stab her, obviously, but I think he was going back and forth with the idea of doing it, and you know she came at him like so naive and lovingly and talking about her being a child, and it was like, aw. You're convincing.
And I actually did like that part as she's talking about, like, what the throne was going to look like, because she's never seen it in person. And just, like, 1,000 swords, and it's, like, being a little disappointing. And I think that's a little bit also of a meta joke on the part of the writers, because, like, in the books, the throne is supposed to be crazy big and have, like, steps up to it and, like, just insane because it's 1,000 swords. And I think they were, like...
Yeah, it was literally supposed to be.
Yeah. And there's no way they could film or, like, effectively make that. So they're also like, yeah, it's disappointing.
I did, though, to your point, you know, like, what about the other people, i.e. my sisters? And it kind of keeps... circling back to like what Tyrion said, what Arya said, and it's kind of that, you know, that family loyalty in there after all. So
well, and they don't have a choice. It's not their choice, and people keep saying to him, you do have a choice. You are the rightful heir, and you could unseat her. So it's like, also, she's not interested in anybody else's free will, but like he needs to step up and take charge of this choice, which is what he did. I love that Drogon, like, rushes in because he just kind of, you know, he is a magic being who's connected to her, and he instantly recognizes that something is wrong. And was it you who, like, brought up the Lion King? Like, him just, like, nudging her, and I just, like, was so sad for him.
Wake up, Dad. Wake up.
Yeah, exactly. Him, like, just nudging her with her nose was, like, incredibly sweet. And it's, like, this, like... basically a weapon of mass destruction. You just like burn down the city and you're like, oh, baby.
I know. So it reminded me of my cat Willie. I was like, for some reason when that happened, I was like, oh, my baby. Like I saw him as like a kitten.
Yeah.
You know, he was like,
I feel
so
like
upset.
The dragons kind of act a little bit like cats in a lot of these scenes. I do want to talk about, because I want to bring back the internet in this, because I've heard a lot of different people theorize on why Drogon burns the throne down, and I think some of them are very interesting. So I
also
think it's
have
pretty
heard some
obvious. Can
interesting
takes. That it's obvious.
I thought it was.
I think so too. I heard, like, one of my favorite YouTubers who talk about it said he thought it was a coincidence, and I was like, what?
It's like, no,
are you crazy?
Like, he just like turned to the side and blew fire, and
like,
that's
wherever.
You know, like John deflected the fire. I'm like, no,
that didn't happen either.
I do just want to say too, like, this was one of my favorite moments when he starts burning the chair, and like, if we recall, like,
predictions,
Aegon,
no throne left.
Well, Aegon the Conqueror, like, he made the throne with Balerion the Dread. So it was made with dragonfire. It could only be unmade with dragonfire. So this was like really our last chance to destroy this like symbol of corruption and power, which is what I believe it to be, internet.
No, I mean, I think, like Lauren said, can we all agree that it's obvious? Like, I think it's obvious he's destroying the one thing that has driven Dany to this point is ultimately the cause of her death.
Absolute corrupting power of this throne.
The power of it.
And not just her death, but the death of his brothers. Only since they came to Westeros and have been in this whole fight. And, like, again, she wouldn't have went north without meeting Jon and the North.
And dragons are really intelligent creatures. Like,
like this, it's just like chock full of symbolism. And I was like, maybe if you wanted to believe, like I saw some funny memes, you know, being like, okay, like the dragon can really, you know, like interpret these symbols and then blast, you know, this thorn because of what it is. Instead, how about like pointy thing stabbing Daenerys? Yeah. Pointy thing over there. You killed my mother.
It's like, I did see that comic and I did laugh out loud really hard to it, but no.
Yes. Like that's funny, but that was absolutely not the purpose of it.
Looked straight at Jon and he knew that he had done it. And Jon looked remorseful. And so
I think Jon thought he was going to die.
Oh, he absolutely did.
Sure.
He knew it was like gonna come.
And he was like ready for it. Like he stood up against the Viserion, the ice death dragon. He like kind of, you know, settled himself into like I'm going to die now.
Foreshadowing of him facing down the other dragon.
Watching the fire build and Drogon's throat neck.
Well, you don't know where it's gonna go.
As it's like sparking back there as he's getting like more and more upset.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was really cool. I really appreciated that too.
So, and then a lot of people too have been confused about why he spared Jon. And besides like him recognizing the corrupting power of the throne, which by the way, like maybe the smartest character in the show at this point is Drogon. Speaking of how smart he is.
Yeah.
Just being like, fuck this thing. We're getting this out of here.
Right.
Is
he
also
broke the wheel.
Yeah, he did break the wheel for his mother, even though she kind of like fell under it, you know. Is also that Jon's a Targaryen and Dany did love him, and Drogon knew that. So I think that like.
Well, and
he didn't want to. He would rather direct his like anger at the real cause.
Right. Like he knows, even though that Jon was the one who physically put that dagger there, like he wasn't the cause of her death. Her chasing this one thing, this one seat, is the cause of her death. Yeah. Like, I mean, I know we're putting a lot on this dragon, but that is absolutely what the writers of the show intended for us to do.
But I feel like dragons know the intentions of people. Like when Tyrion...
He's also connected to her.
Yeah, you know? But when Tyrion went down into the... Yeah. You know, and they
can sense
accepted him and could sense that what his intentions were. I think it goes a lot farther than just... Oh, he
pointy chair.
Yeah, pointy chair.
No, and also,
for sure,
even if he wasn't like, you don't think he's that smart, he's also not that fucking stupid.
Right.
I read a really good take on another podcaster and a writer who writes for Vanity Fair, and she does the Storm of Spoilers, which I really like. I haven't listened to their thing on the finale yet, but Joanna Robinson, and she wrote a whole comparison piece of like the throne kind of symbolizing what the Ring of Power does in Lord of the Rings, and George R.R. Martin is like very inspired by Tolkien, and I really like that piece. Like it's not magic like that is, but it has a certain magic in how much it corrupts people of just, you know, the power that comes with this throne.
For sure.
And actually, speaking of Lord of the Rings, you know, black screen for a second after this all happens, a little bit of a time jump, and then we have...
Did you guys think it was ending there? Because for a split second I was like...
No, only because Lord of the Rings and so many other things have already done that to me. Return of the King, I really did think for a second they were just going to end with him on that fucking lava rock. And I'm like still mad about it to this day that I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then, like, I knew it wasn't long enough because I knew how long the episode was supposed to be.
Yeah, and we still hadn't resolved some of our characters. So it's like they can't leave.
But yeah, that pause was still just like, I was even annoyed, though, that they were trying to do that.
Yeah, same. I was, like, about to flip over the table in front of me. Just kidding.
Which is how I feel in a few more minutes.
Yes.
So we jump to this like great council sort of that's been formed, where Grey Worm walks out Tyrion in chains, and we find out Tyrion and Jon Snow have been imprisoned by the Unsullied, who still have the city.
Can we talk about how long?
I mean, a couple months for Sansa to get down there with a big ass army.
Things have been rebuilt. I feel like I feel like the city was not as much in ruins.
Well, even though, and like Jon has grown a beard.